We know he's a good guy. What do you want, a cookie? You supposed to, what are you supposed to do? You know, be belligerent and rambunctious and disrespectful?
Stephen A. Smith isn't holding back on Michael Irvin. The ESPN host just exposed the NFL legend for allegedly going broke after his $100 million lawsuit. But according to Stephen A., the money is actually the least of Irvin's problems. Let me break down how it all started. The Phoenix incident that shocked the sports world. Let's go back to February 2023, during one of the biggest weeks in American sports, Super Bowl week in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yes, this was a couple years ago at Super Bowl, right? Now, I had just lost my mother-in-law, and I remember coming in. I had to go to work. I was working the next morning, so I had to get up like 8, 9 o'clock. So I came in the hotel about 10:30. I'm being a good dude.
That's early.
As Irvin entered the hotel lobby, he noticed some guys at the bar Eagles fans, as it turned out. They recognized the Hall of Fame receiver and called him over. Despite having drinks earlier and knowing he needed to be sharp for work the next day, Irvin briefly engaged with them, talking football as he always did. They offered him a drink, but he declined. "I'm good. I gotta work in the morning," he told them, according to his own account. But then something caught his eye. One of the fans had a camera, and Irvin could tell the guy wanted a picture but was too shy to ask. This was vintage Michael Irvin, always thinking about the fans, always wanting to make people happy.
So when I walked away, I got convicted. I said, yo, bro. I said, that was cool. Come on, let's walk outside and let's take a pic. So me and these 3 dudes walked outside.
After taking pictures with the 3 Eagles fans and joking around about Patrick Mahomes, Irvin headed back into the hotel. He was ready to call it a night, head to his room, and prepare for the demanding broadcast schedule ahead. As he walked through the lobby, he encountered a female Marriott employee. According to Irvin, they shook hands. He doesn't remember exactly what was said, and he went to his room. The next day, Irvin woke up, did all his shows, and everything seemed normal. But after his shows concluded, when he returned to his room to take a nap before more work, something happened that would change everything.
And they called me to the room.
Who?
The security.
Okay.
NFL and the hotel security.
The former Cowboys star, who had been through controversies before in his life, immediately knew something was seriously wrong.
Like, I know ain't nobody get to my room last night. You know what I'm saying? Because by now, I done been hit enough that I know if you don't get to the room, I'm good. You know what I mean? Don't get to the room. Most dudes go out trying to look for something. I'm like, I just got to get home alone to the room. Nothing I'll be good.
When they finally told him about a complaint from a female employee regarding an interaction in the lobby, Irvin was baffled. He told them he didn't remember meeting any girl, hadn't brought anyone to his room, and had simply gone to sleep after a long day. The investigation was already underway, and the consequences were swift and severe. What Irvin didn't know at the time was that the employee had accused him of making inappropriate sexual comments while appearing intoxicated. According to the allegations that would later emerge, she claimed Irvin had asked her if she had ever been with a black man, and if she would like to be with a black man. But here's where the story takes a turn that reveals something crucial about how allegations, justice, and the court of public opinion work in modern America.
So I'm telling you, I didn't do anything last night. You're telling me I did do something last night. Now you're telling me to go home. So I'm telling you, I must be crazy. And you sending me home to my family. So I couldn't go home. So I stayed in a hotel.
Irvin couldn't return to any Marriott properties, so he ended up staying at what he described as some little dump hotel. NFL Network pulled him from all Super Bowl coverage, effectively suspending him while the investigation continued. Then came the part that would prove to be Irvin's salvation, though he had to fight like hell to get it: the surveillance video. The hotel had cameras everywhere, capturing everything that happened in that lobby. There was just one problem: the hotel refused to release it.
I had to sue the hotel. And then after the judge, they told him, you gotta show him the tape. They still wouldn't turn it over. I had to press it again.
Irvin filed a $100 million defamation lawsuit against Marriott and the employee in February 2023, alleging that false accusations had destroyed his reputation and career opportunities. But even after a judge ordered the hotel to release the video, they still resisted. Irvin had to press the legal case even further. Finally, the surveillance footage was released, and it told a story very different from the allegations. The video showed a brief conversation in the hallway, lasting under 2 minutes, where Irvin met the employee, they talked, and then he walked away.
What saved me was those 3 dudes that I went and took the pic with, because they woke up the next morning and saw all the news, and they were like, that didn't happen. What the hell? They say, that didn't happen. Why would they do that?
These witnesses, who had interacted with Irvin just moments before the alleged incident, came forward to corroborate his version of events. They described the interaction as brief, polite, and completely innocent. They stated that Irvin appeared to be in good spirits but not overly intoxicated, and that the encounter they witnessed was nothing like what was being alleged. Stephen A. Smith's unwavering defense in the Brotherhood Code. While Michael Irvin fought legal battles and struggled to maintain his sanity during what he would later describe as one of the darkest periods of his life, one voice in sports media refused to abandon him: Stephen A. Smith. The ESPN personality, known for his passionate takes and sometimes controversial opinions, became one of Irvin's most vocal defenders during the controversy. But this wasn't just professional courtesy or media strategy. This was personal. This was about brotherhood, loyalty, and a relationship that had been built over more than 2 decades of working together, arguing on camera, and developing a genuine friendship off it. To understand why Stephen A. Smith stood so firmly with Michael Irvin, you need to understand the depth of their relationship.
I had that brother on Mondays, and I gotta tell you, I'm gonna miss him.
Stephen A. and Irvin had worked together for years on ESPN's First Take, where their debates, often centered on the Dallas Cowboys, drew massive viewership. Irvin had a regular Monday segment that became must-see TV for football fans. Their chemistry was undeniable, their arguments entertaining, and their mutual respect evident even when they vehemently disagreed. But beyond the cameras and the hot takes, there was a genuine bond. Stephen A. describes both Michael Irvin and Keyshawn Johnson, another former NFL player and broadcaster, not just as colleagues or friends, but as brothers. They are not just colleagues. They are not just friends. They are my brothers, Stephen A. stated emphatically. This wasn't hyperbole or media speak. This was a relationship forged over years of shared experiences, mutual challenges, and genuine affection. When the Marriott allegations surfaced and Irvin was pulled from NFL Network coverage, Stephen A. didn't wait to see which way the wind would blow. He didn't calculate the potential backlash or consider how supporting Irvin might affect his own career. In June 2023, Smith publicly advocated for Irvin's return to ESPN, stating he wanted no one more than Irvin on the show and emphasizing that external factors like the lawsuit were beyond his control.
I've spoken up on behalf of Michael Irvin by way of simply stating I wanted him back on First Take as well, barring any unforeseen evidence that was to come forward that would be incredibly incriminating. I've waited months, and I'm still waiting.
This statement is crucial because it reveals Stephen A.'s approach to the situation. He wasn't blindly defending Irvin regardless of evidence. He was saying, show me the evidence, prove the allegations. Until then, I stand with my brother. Stephen A. reiterated this position in July 2023, noting a lack of incriminating evidence against Irvin and expressing his belief in Irvin's character based on their long professional relationship. The ESPN analyst made a point that resonated with many who had followed the case. If you have enough of a history where you're in the news for the wrong reasons, there are things that people can get tired of, but that's not what I was told. What I was told is that there was going to be incriminating evidence against Michael Irvin, and that would be the reason he wouldn't be on the airwaves.
I'm not talking about by ESPN. I'm just talking about people in the know in the industry. They were the ones saying that. Well, guess what? That was February. It is March, April, May, June, now July, and August is on the way. In case y'all haven't noticed, since that time, I've lost about 20 pounds.
Yet Irvin remained off the air, his career in limbo, his reputation under assault. Stephen A. wasn't alone in his defense of Irvin, but he was certainly the most prominent and consistent voice. On his podcast, No Mercy, Smith shared that Irvin was emotional after being removed from Super Bowl coverage, but framed it as an injustice rather than a personal failing. The relationship between Stephen A. Smith and Michael Irvin goes deeper than just professional collaboration. They represent something important in the world of sports media: authenticity and loyalty in an industry that often prizes neither. When Irvin eventually joined Skip Bayless's show Undisputed on FS1, along with Keyshawn Johnson, Stephen A.'s reaction revealed the complexity of his emotions.
I'm happy for him, ecstatic for him, happy for Skip Bayless, sad for myself because I had that brother on Mondays. And I gotta tell you, I'm gonna miss him.
Stephen A. went on to describe both Irvin and Keyshawn Johnson in terms that make clear just how deep these relationships run. About Keyshawn, he said, "He is one of the realest, most authentic human beings you will ever find on this planet. Knows football inside and out like the back of his hand, and the contribution he made to First Take and he's made to my life on a personal level. Both him and Michael Irvin as friends, they know the love is always here for them, and I'm gonna miss him too." It's worth noting that Stephen A. has expressed concerns about how the situation was handled, particularly regarding the role of race in allegations against black men. In discussing the Marriott incident, he stated, "As a black man, I have never liked nor appreciated the fact that a video could be shown of him doing nothing but talking. We have no sound, and I've looked into this not just at my place of business, not just at the NFL, but other sources. There has been no sound, no audio incriminating him." Irvin's past includes legitimate controversies, including drug-related arrests and other incidents that he has owned and for which he has expressed genuine remorse. But this Marriott situation appeared to be different. Stephen A.'s defense of Irvin also revealed something important about how he approaches allegations and evidence. He wasn't saying believe all accused or dismiss all allegations. He was saying something more nuanced and important. Wait for evidence. Examine the facts. Don't rush to judgment. In multiple public statements, he emphasized that he would immediately change his position if credible, incriminating evidence emerged. But months passed, and that evidence never came. The settlement of the lawsuit in September 2023 brought a measure of closure to the legal case, though questions remain. Irvin dismissed the case with prejudice, meaning it could not be refiled, and the terms of the settlement remained confidential. Marriott issued a statement expressing satisfaction with the resolution and emphasizing that no payment was made by the hotel while standing by their employees' version of events. The truth about Irvin's finances and what really matters. Irvin's net worth has been estimated around $12 to $15 million in recent years, derived from his NFL career earnings, approximately $43 million over 12 seasons, endorsements, and post-retirement work as a broadcaster for NFL Network and ESPN. While the legal battle likely incurred costs, such as attorney fees, Irvin's continued employment and return to broadcasting suggests stability. He was paid during his suspension and resumed on-air roles promptly after the settlement.
And a lot of my money, man, a lot of my money he spent on that jury, he could have left that somewhere and let that just grow.
Irvin spoke honestly about how he wishes his younger self had been smarter with money, investing instead of spending on parties, jewelry, and other excesses. He contrasted his spending with his pre-NFL days, describing himself as the poorest, broke joker in the world, growing up in a family of 17 in a challenging environment. These weren't admissions of current financial problems. They were reflections from a man who had learned valuable lessons over the course of his life. In fact, Irvin has been remarkably successful in managing his wealth in his later years. He discussed how he learned to set up family trust and handle finances more intelligently, ensuring that when he helps family members, it's done in a tax-efficient manner. This is not the behavior or conversation of someone who is broke or struggling financially.
So to get everything and put everything into a trust. So my whole family into the trust. So now when I'm handing you money and I'm gonna send you tax papers.
Yeah.
So we're handing you money now at your tax bracket instead of me handing you money at my tax bracket.
What the entire episode actually underscores are themes of cancel culture and the court of public opinion, not economic downfall. Irvin's legal team described the situation as a modern example of rushing to judgment without evidence. The financial impact of the lawsuit was likely limited to legal fees and possibly offset by a settlement, but certainly not career-ending or life-altering in terms of his wealth. What's particularly insidious about this misinformation is how it diminishes the real story, which is actually far more compelling and important. The real story is about the presumption of guilt based on allegations alone. Irvin was immediately pulled from broadcast and his career derailed based on accusations that, when evidence finally emerged, appeared to be unfounded or at least grossly exaggerated. The surveillance video and witness testimony painted a very different picture from the initial allegations. The power of loyalty and friendship in an industry that often lacks both. Stephen A. Smith's unwavering support for his friend, even when it might have been easier or safer to distance himself, demonstrates what real friendship looks like. He didn't blindly defend Irvin. He called for evidence and due process, but he also refused to abandon his friend in a time of crisis. The racial dimensions of allegations against black men. As Stephen A. pointed out, the fact that a video showing nothing but a conversation could be used as evidence against a black man without any audio or other corroborating evidence speaks to deeper issues in how black men are viewed and treated in American society. The importance of the truth eventually emerging. While it took months in a legal battle, the evidence that supported Irvin's version of events did eventually come to light. The three Eagles fans who came forward as witnesses played a crucial role in corroborating his account. Michael Irvin's reflection on the ordeal reveals the true cost of the experience, and it wasn't financial.
So I've been accused of, I wasn't even there. I've been accused of some things that I haven't even been there. You know, so in our world, nobody waits to find out the truth. Nobody cares about that. It's just the allegation. So, yeah.
The lies,
I'm scared.
The lies are more of a headline.
Yeah.
The lies are the headline.
This statement cuts to the heart of the matter. In the modern media environment, allegations become headlines instantly, while truth takes time to emerge and often receives far less attention. A salacious false accusation will trend on social media and generate countless clicks, while the eventual exoneration or contradiction of that accusation Irvin might warrant a small correction buried in a news site's back pages. The episode also highlighted the role that supporters like Jerry Jones and Deion Sanders played in helping Irvin through this difficult time. These weren't just professional relationships, they were genuine friendships that provided emotional support when Irvin needed it most. In that 2025 podcast, Irvin credited these relationships with helping him maintain his sanity and resilience during the ordeal. One of the most poignant moments in Irvin's retelling of the story was his description of staying in a dump hotel because he couldn't stay at Marriott properties, and his inability to go home to his family because he was questioning his own reality.
For the first few days, I was at a hotel, but I couldn't go to any more Marriotts. So I was at some little dump hotel.
This wasn't about money. Irvin could have stayed anywhere he wanted financially. This was about a man whose entire sense of self and reality was being called into question. When you're told you did something terrible, but you have no memory of it, it creates a profound psychological crisis. You begin to doubt your own perception of reality, your own judgment, your own sanity. The true vindication for Irvin came not from the settlement itself, but from what the evidence revealed. The surveillance video that the hotel initially refused to release became what Irvin called the eye in the sky, the objective witness that couldn't lie or be influenced by bias or preconception.
I'm glad the eye in the sky didn't tell no lie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, because I've already been, you guys know, I've been accused of, I wasn't even there.
This statement references something important about Irvin's history. He has faced false accusations before, including a 1996 allegation of sexual assault that was later recanted by the accuser, who was convicted of perjury and filing a false police report. That experience, while vindication eventually came, left scars. It made this new allegation even more painful because Irvin knew how devastating false accusations could be, knew how long the shadow they cast could linger even after truth emerged. The Marriott incident forced Irvin to confront fundamental questions about justice, media, and society. In the podcast interview, he reflected on the broader implications of his experience. The allegation itself, asking if someone had ever been with a black man, was characterized as criminal by some, though Irvin questioned whether words alone, even offensive ones, should constitute a crime warranting career destruction.
That's a crime?
I don't know.
That's a crime, Ray?
I don't know.
Depending on your skin color.
This observation, while delivered with Irvin's characteristic humor, touches on something serious about the application of standards and consequences. The idea that the same words or actions might be judged differently based on the race of the person accused or accusing speaks to systemic inequities in how justice is applied. But perhaps the most important aspect of Irvin's account was his insistence on his own innocence, based not on moral character, but on practical knowledge of his own behavior patterns. His reasoning was both humorous and insightful.
Because I'm not a loser. I'm not a quitter. If I'm that deep in a conversation, I'm not gonna turn and walk away, Joker. I don't lose like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna convince or confuse you, but we gonna walk away together. You understand what I'm saying?
Goddamn right, yeah.
Come on, let's go.
If I'm on that.
In other words, Irvin knew himself well enough to know that if he had actually been hitting on this woman, he wouldn't have simply walked away after a brief conversation. He would have continued the interaction, tried to get her number, invited her somewhere, done something other than just turn and leave. The brevity of the interaction, captured on video, contradicted the alleged intent. When Irvin saw the surveillance video, his reaction was telling, "I walked off too easy." He knew that wasn't his style, wasn't how he operated, and that simple fact, combined with the witness testimony and lack of audio evidence, supported his version of events. The resolution of the case, while legally concluded with the September 2023 settlement, left many questions unanswered. The confidential terms mean we don't know if Irvin received compensation, if the employee faced any consequences, or what exactly the hotel acknowledged or denied. What we do know is that Irvin's career survived, his reputation largely intact among those who followed the evidence rather than just the initial headlines. Irvin's return to NFL Network in September 2023 marked the end of a 7-month exile. During that suspension, he continued to receive his salary as he was never formally fired. The network had adopted what was described as a wait-and-see approach, which in retrospect seems wise given how the evidence eventually emerged. In the end, Michael Irvin's experience with the Marriott lawsuit serves as a cautionary tale about the rush to judgment in the social media age, the importance of due process and evidence, and the lasting value of loyalty and friendship. When asked about the experience on the All the Smoke podcast, Irvin focused not on financial loss, but on emotional resilience and the supporters who helped him through it. The friendship between Stephen A. Smith and Michael Irvin, tested by this ordeal, emerged stronger. Their relationship represents something increasingly rare in modern media: genuine loyalty that transcends professional considerations. Stephen A. didn't expose Michael Irvin for anything. Instead, he stood with his friend, called for evidence and fairness, and refused to let allegations without proof destroy a man's career and reputation. As we reflect on this story, it's worth considering what it teaches us about media literacy, the presumption of innocence, and the nature of truth in an age where headlines spread faster than facts. The next time you see a sensational claim about a public figure, whether it's about going broke, criminal behavior, or personal scandal, remember the Michael Irvin story. Remember that the truth often takes time to emerge, that evidence matters more than allegations, and that loyalty and integrity are worth more than clicks and views. The real Michael Irvin story isn't about financial ruin or exposés. It's about survival, vindication, and the friends who stand with you when the whole world seems to be against you. It's about a man who refused to let false accusations define him, who fought for the truth even when powerful institutions opposed him, and who emerged from the darkest period of his professional life with his career, reputation, and finances intact. And it's about Stephen A. Smith, who showed the world what real friendship looks like in an industry that often values neither friendship nor truth. Their bond, forged over 2 decades and tested by crisis, stands as a testament to what matters most. Not money, not headlines, not even career success, but the willingness to stand with someone when they need you most. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.